Hello everyone, Nigat here, and welcome to a build order guide for Littlewargame. Today I'm showing you a build order for Mech. This is pretty much the standard Mech build. It's actually probably one of the only Mech builds, one of two that you could go for, at least in the current meta of things. Basically, the idea of this build is to get two airships, actually a total of three airships for three Cata Drops, while preparing a way to get to your third base. If you have any questions about how the build works specifically, I'm going to post the exact build order in the description. So if you want to copy that over to some sort of document and follow the build order while you play your CPU games, that's a good way to do it. Also, if you're interested in playing something like Beast with Wolves or something like Rax with Raiders, I have build order guides for those on my channel. A little bit in my backlog as far as things go, but this is probably one of the only build order guides for Mech that exists on the internet. I think Mech is just such a niche kind of play style in Littlewargame that very few people know about it. Very few people know how to actually play it, and so here I am. I'm gonna do my best to kind of give a build order guide. So as far as the build order goes, it's pretty much standard: 2 worker into house, into another worker, and then now we get our workshop. And this is actually where we are most vulnerable. This workshop takes a very long time to build. It's actually probably the longest producing building as far as between Rax, Wolf Den, and the workshop. As far as openings go, this definitely is the longest. But we try to get ourselves safe by getting some Gatling guns, and that offers some protection. Typically, as we look at Mech, the playstyle is to be pretty defensive, but you do get a lot of harassment off, especially if your catapult drops are going to be successful. I know this game looks like it's kind of like a medieval style game because we have our dragons and our soldiers and our archers. But Mech kind of puts it all on its head, the fact that we get that airship and we're able to go for drops. So like I mentioned, this is the build you want to go for if you want to play Mech and if you want to go for drops. As we build our workshop, we're going to go for 2 more additional workers. And once that workshop finishes up, I'm going to go ahead and speed it up just a little bit. Once this workshop finishes, we're going to queue up 2 Gatling guns. And this additional worker, so you'll notice we have 10 workers on the mineral line, on the gold line here, which is, we usually stop building workers at when this has 10, when our 11th worker is scouting. But we're going to build an additional worker for safety. This is going to block the ramp so that raiders have to blink over this guy. Also, wolves have to try to fight through the worker in order to try to get to our main base up until we get those Gatlings out. While this is going on, you will have the freedom to send one of your workers out to scout. The idea is that while this worker is scouting, this worker will be in time to block this ramp, stopping your opponent from being able to get in, and it's at the exact timing that your second Gatling gun comes out. A little bit of a trick with this, especially regarding the building placement, and you'll see it with the castle placement as well. We're trying to set up a sim city so that there is a 2 square wide opening that allows mech units to walk through, but blocks other units from coming in. So if you notice, this Gatling gun has been positioned in a way to block units from passing through. This worker is able to pass through because it's gold walking back to its main base. But now if a raider is to approach this area, it'll have to fight through the Gatling gun, and then this worker is going to block the ramp. So the raider would be trapped here, and we would be able to kill that raider with these units here. So our second Gatling gun pops up. We've got our castle going down, and now what we do is we get our advanced workshop at 140 gold. I'm going to quickly talk about the placement. The reason why we place the advanced workshop here. There's two reasons. One, it keeps it hidden, so that if anyone tries to look around this ramp, they won't be able to see what tech we're going for. But the second reason is if someone were to drop into your base and try to build like a workshop here and kind of cheese you and try to plug this ramp with workers, with buildings that the workers could produce, this SimCity stops that from happening. They could only build like a watchtower here, and then there's still going to be a gap towards this area where workers could kind of swing through and escape that way. While we get our advanced workshop, we're going to queue one worker. So we're building one worker. Then we're going to build this catapult. It's going to start building the moment this castle finishes up. And then we're going to transfer 5 workers from our main base to our second base. It's going to let us mine here. It's also going to give us one worker in advantage, like one worker in addition to both of our mines. So if you'll notice, we have 6 here and we have 6 here. This worker is coming over here, and we're going to start building houses over at our second base to start building a little bit of a defensive setup, which will allow for an even amount of workers at both bases. Once that transfer happens, the catapult is going. We're going to start building 2 workers, and then we're going to want to build a house. The earlier you can get this house down, like the closer to 100 gold you can get this house down, the better. It directly correlates with how fast you can get your airship. And we want fast airships so we can go for fast drops. Once we get our house down, we're going to queue up another catapult. And there we go. And then as fast as we can possibly get this airship, which is at 100 gold, we're going to be waiting a little bit. We'll start getting an airship from here. You'll notice that at this point, both of our castles have stopped producing workers. That's just kind of how this build rolls. That's how Mech rolls a lot of the time. Something I do want to point out is that with these with the advanced workshop, we're able to now place caltrops with our Gatling guns. So a little bit of a trick you want to do with the Mech build is to start placing caltrops defensively to basically stop raiders from coming in and creating a lot of issues and doing that kind of thing. So after we queued up this advanced or this airship, we got 2 additional workers going. We got a catapult going up, and then we should get another house. Again, try to get this house as close to 100 as you possibly can. And then we queue up another 2 workers, I believe. A house, 2 workers, that's right. And then as the airship comes out, we're going to want to send that to the other side of the map, basically going for a 4-minute 40-second timing where we're sending out our airship and going to do a little bit of damage. Here is our second catapult we're getting. You'll notice there's a little bit of a pattern with these catapults. You basically don't start your second airship until you have started building your second catapult. That way, when you have your second catapult out, your airship will just come up and pick them up, and you'll be able to go. And you'll notice on the build order guide, this section of the build order repeats like twice. That's because it's like that's because this is like the kind of the mode or like the build order you need to go for to get workers as well as to get drops as efficiently as possible. And then it should be at this point that our second airship is being queued. That's right, we're dropping. At this point in the game, you're going to have to do a little bit of micro to make sure your drops are getting all the value they possibly can. Building that house, and then getting the worker production going as well. Let's see, if we're at house, we should have 2 workers being queued up, 1 more Cata, and then it'll be another airship. There's our second airship. So remember, with this build, we're going to try to go for 3 airships to try to do a lot of harassment. A tip with this one is do not lose any airships. Do not lose any airships as much as possible. Do not lose any drops. Try to get as much value as possible. And usually by this point, because you're putting so much pressure on your opponent with the airships, you should have the kind of the freedom to be able to get a third base. And this is what this timing is for now. So after we started up this third airship, we should be getting 2 workers. We should be building a house now, which we do. We're going to queue up another catapult whenever we can afford it. And then we're going to send out a worker, because we'll have both of these gold mines. Both of these gold mines will have 12 workers on it. We're ready for another gold mine. So one of these workers is going to come out. You can already see that these Gatling guns are coming out to prepare the way, to basically make sure that whenever a worker comes out, and here he does, that it's going to be safe. Obviously, you're not just going to win with your drops, but you're going to try to do as much as you possibly can. Here comes your third airship, and then guest has been eliminated, but at this timing, we're going to basically go into castle. You're going to want to follow it up with additional workers, and then you're basically going to want to play it out from there. But this is the essential standard bread and butter guide for mech. Like, this is like the standard mech build, getting into airships, getting into Cata Drops, trying to do a lot of harassment to your opponent, and then with that pressure, being able to expand. Remember that mech is the defensive kind of race in Littlewargame. They're not supposed to be very aggressive. Beasts have a ton of map control, but it's all about these airship drops, these Cata Drops, trying to get as much pressure onto your opponent, as much damage onto your opponent, and the maneuverability of the airships, which allow you to have map presence. And so that's why it's so important not to lose these guys. And then with that map presence that you're gaining from the airships, you should be able to get this third expand while dropping and while getting a lot of damage. So if you enjoyed this guide, please let me know. Please leave a message in the comments. If you want to continue to see more videos like this about Littlewargame, more guides, more replays, just let me know. Also, if you've been playing some games that I should cast on my YouTube channel, you can message me on Discord, and you can upload the replay file either on the Littlewargame Discord, or you can send it to me on my Discord, and I'd be happy to cast it and let you know what my thoughts are on your games. Again, leave a like, subscribe, and thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the very next video.